So I'd like to welcome you all, whether you knew it or not, to the spring rite that we're having today. And as some of you know, we do like to mark the seasons, and we draw heavily on the Waldorf Steiner teaching in terms of doing that. And we think with the seasons, with the cosmos, with the earth, with plants, everything is linked. And we're part of that linking. Earth, plants, animals, the heavens, the cosmos. And that idea from James Lovelock, the idea of the Gaia theory. And it's a lovely theory, the idea that the earth itself is an organism, a self-regulating organism, where all things are connected. And we as human beings are the flower of the earth. We are the true flower of the earth. Over all the centuries, we are what has, I think, flowered. And so, the idea is that it's proper on a Sunday, which is so close to Earth Day, to celebrate our relationship with the earth at this key time, remembering that we're part of that earth, and also that we are dependent upon the earth for our survival. We are dependent upon the earth. As someone said, there is no fallback planet. This is it. There is no fallback planet. This is it. And it's good to remember that whereas we traditionally think that we are stewards of the earth, we are in charge. In fact, we think that our future depends upon us, and this isn't necessarily the truth. In fact, it's not us that is in charge. The earth is in charge. And we must remember that. The earth is in charge. If we're not careful, it will regulate us out of existence. The earth will regulate us out of existence. Remember, the earth is self-regulating and has been for millions of years. If its environment is threatened, if the earth's environment is threatened, it will make changes, the changes necessary to keep it healthy. And those changes may not be conducive to the continuation of humanity. We may go the way of the dinosaurs if we're not more sensitive to how we treat the planet. But dire warnings over, we are still come in, Daleen, there's a place here for you here. Come and sit down. And Gary, do come and sit down. Dire warnings over. It is worth remembering that the earth is in charge and that we are part of that, and we need to be sensitive to that. But it's also worth remembering that we are the flower of the planet. And as such, we move and we change with the seasons. There's a time to grow, and there's a time to draw back. There's a time to flower. There's a time to seed. And we come into this season of spring now to prepare ourselves. We prepare ourselves like flowers to open into the warmth, for us to open into the warmth and be pollinated, to receive warmth, love, ideas, music, all richly available in this valley. But before we open to that, we have to acknowledge the closedness of our winter. We have to acknowledge the fact that we are closed in winter, the closedness of plants and animals during winter, hibernation, seeds below the ground, us in the warmth of our homes, all using our energy to combat the cold. We draw in during the winter. So we start this rite in a closed state. The maypole stands closed, woven. Our trees outside are almost closed. There are no flowers on the trees. All the earth underneath is dark, but secretly preparing for the light. Below us, the wood wide web, and earthen darkness, the rooted richness that is the potential is there. And the gardener is preparing everything for the spring.
I planted the seed. I watered, I waited, I watched, And because I am curious and one seed is serious, I placed my ear near the ground and I listened for a growing sound. Well, that's just ridiculous, the voice in my head said. But I wanted particulars, a sign that my seed was not dead. That night in the moonlight, I asked myself, what if I was an earth elf and could slide down by my seed into the dirt world? What would my seed need? In a flash of light, my head did a spin. I felt a push, pull, tug, and suddenly I was the size of a small crawly bug. No, smaller than that. I was smaller than small, but wiser and able to take in it all. I don't know how I knew, but I knew that I knew. This dirt world is much greater than all me and you. Above the ground, we know about flowers and trees, about mushrooms and mosses and bugs and bees, about bird things and crawlers and slitherers and smells. But under the ground, I have forgotten my next line. Oh, but what I saw now was infinitely more vast. A universe of industry flowing past, fast. This mesh world is hyphal, or better yet said, no, or easier said, under our feet is the wood wide web. Could we know that under the ground isn't just dirt, but a village, a town, a network? Does that work? What I'm trying to say is dirt isn't dirt in just any old way. It's a cobweb of filaments, like underground trees that talk to each other, like you talk to me, or like I talk to you, and my friend down the street who talks to a neighbor who offers a treat, who gathers more goodies for friends across town. All this got me thinking that night in the moonlight in the ground. So let me ask you the questions I asked myself that night as an elf. Are plants friends? Where do species begin? Where do they end?
And I do have to say that Cher wrote that herself, so that's amazing. And we will put it on the weekly email so you can see it itself. It's a wonderful poem. So we're looking at the darkness and deepness of the earth. We're looking at what the light will produce. So let's maybe just close our eyes and go inward into ourselves. And just ask yourself, how have you been looking after yourself this winter? What has been happening to you this winter in the darkness of the night? How have you been prepared? Has it been hard for you? What have been your challenges during winter? What have you faced? How have you dealt with them? Have they left you depleted or enriched? And as you look towards spring and summer, how do you feel? Do you have a sense of relief? Of excitement? Of dread? Of inevitability? What is your feeling as you look towards spring and summer? And what seeds might have you inside you that could grow if given the right environment? What could grow from you? What do you hope for? What sort of environment do you need? How will you ready yourself to open? As you open your eyes, Eliza is going to read a poem by David White.
Unutterable name. Cross currents and tumbling desire of aspens in a summer wind, shimmering in a rustle and whisper of leaf undersides turn pale yellow, each upper side a trembling of bright green. The whole frame a lit firework of feeling, where all surfaces and shoulders of wood and leaf touch and quiver to the wind's quaking unspoken desire. Not to be lightly spoken of, your species' name so common on our tongue, the mind's eye forgets the continued revelation of your kind. A single branch, a copse, a nest of bright copper for the dying year. All the forests of the wind were wild once, of the world were wild once, wood once, and proclaim the leafy hope and snares of human paradise. Down below, the dream of those dark limbs turning now feminine, now snake-like, erotically refusing to be found, leads us down into that glistering worldwide treasure of wetness and wild abandon, the marsh. The dank water's cool refusal of dryness, a sworn enemy to the clarity our yearning demands. Every footstep filled with mud, every feeling a mere mushroom subsumed by damp, a fever of sense, sounds and recollection. How the bark smells, how the frogs breathe, how the greens seem darker still, how the faint brushing sting of nettle feels on passing skin. All your many kinds are filled with our stories. We know you, your name, aspen, rowan, linden, oak, and remember Pan's stable of haunting desire, Kevin's seat of still prayer, Buddha's explosive clarity beneath the Buddha's protecting shadow of knowledge, Christ's arms like branches on the still sapling of longing and loss. Your stories are our welcome night sign of stop and rest and sky and stars and forgotten sleep where we wake again to find we are surrounded, embellished, frighted, nourished, sheltered, restored, rejected, and inhabited by, how shall I ever say your name? Wood, trunk, branch, leaf, boreal harmony of green and breath. My hands clapping, eyes opened, mouth attempting the song of your unspeakable gifts and grace again and again. The full hidden not to be said, mysterious and unutterable name of your full breath, tree.
Tree. And this is our tree. This is the meaning of the maypole. It is the tree. It is the tree with the leaves and colours on the tree, and it is bound at the moment. And just with the tree, it is the children that will open the tree, the child in ourselves, in conjunction with nature, the aspen, the rowan, the linden and the oak. We too will begin to open. The child in us begins to unwrap the potential and mystery of what is to come. We are now beginning to open. You can just feel the tightness of that binding is now hanging loose. And inside ourselves now, as we watch the children open up, we now have to allow ourselves to hang loose. So I'd just like to invite you to begin to open yourselves. So if you again like to close your eyes. And just become aware of your breathing. Become aware of your breath. Following the air in and out of your nostrils. In and out. Filling us. Breathing that air into our heads. In and down through our neck into our chest. Feeling the in and out of our chest. Down to our stomach. Feeling the in and the out of our stomach. Down to our lower abdomen. Breathing right down to the base of our spines. That cool air coming in and filling our bodies. That breath opening us and awakening us. And just begin to breathe deeper now. As you breathe deeper, recognize yourself becoming more alive and awake. From our noses, right down to the base of our spines, waking us up. And so as we slow our breathing, we begin to feel the peace and calm of our awakeness. The easy in and out of our breaths. Quiet, peaceful, alive, awake, open, ready for the spring. And so we open our eyes and look into the space. We see the pole open and ready. Everyone around open and ready.